Welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me is Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber, and you can read his work at ALLCITY. We are being produced today by Sarah.
Hi.
Hello. Sarah's going to be a part of a show, a little game we play later on in the show.
Am I playing Sarah or playing with Sarah?
You will be
teaming up or head-to-head?
We're going to do head-to-head.
Ooh, Sarah, it's on.
I'd prefer that way.
We're going to do head-to-head. We're going to see.
Every man for themselves.
It's out of 8. So we're going to see out of 8 who gets the most points. You get one right, and you get a point. So The most points you can get is 8. Stick tuned to later on, where we'll have some shenanigans. Hello, Sean from Iowa. We're coming to you live, obviously, from Chicago, the city beautiful, as you brought up. On the show today, we'll be talking about Dylan Cease, and if the Dodgers are out of the Dylan Cease sweepstakes, we'll obviously play the game that I brought up earlier. And the other thing that we're going to talk about is the Royals inking Seth Lugo, a real unforgettable move, truly, that I needed
Division shaking.
Check my notes. But let's jump into the Dodgers, because I thought when I texted you this morning that the Glasnow thing was done. I just assumed that if Ken Rosenthal was tweeting about it in any sorts after the weekend we've had and Bob Nightingale's lashings in USA Today, I thought that we would probably only hear about a deal if it was done. But Tyler Glasnow is not a Los Angeles Dodger yet, but as Ken Rosenthal reported, they are in advanced talks, the Rays and Dodgers, to send Tyler Glasnow to L.A., and we've been hearing from Fabian
Ardaya, I believe is his last name, yeah.
And Ken Rosenthal, that there was a star-studded meeting with the Dodgers and Yoshinobu Yamamoto today.
Star-studded? In Hollywood?
Yes. Oh, in Hollywood.
Wow.
With Will Smith, not that Will Smith, with
he probably lives there.
Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like, all the celebrities out in L.A.
I forget.
Maybe Anthony Kiedis was going to be there.
I think at one point the Knicks brought in Susan Sarandon
for a free agent
for a free agent pitch. I'm pretty sure at some point there was a Susan Sarandon pop-in.
You're telling me Flea was not at this meeting?
Flea was not at this meeting.
Unbelievable.
It was drummer Will Smith. That's what it was, or the guy that looks like Will Smith, Chad Smith.
Chad Smith.
Oh, there you go.
He looks like Will Ferrell.
He does look like Will Ferrell. That's what I was confused.
Mixing up your Wills and your Smiths.
My bad. Anyways, none of this is official. The Dodgers don't have Yamamoto. The Dodgers don't have Glasnow. But if they were to acquire one or both, do you see them still being aggressive in the Cease market?
Man, I tell you what, it's kind of hard to count them out of. I'll tell you what, Wimpy. I think it's kind of hard to count them out of anything right now. You would think you sign one guy to a $700 million contract. I don't care how much he's making per, in each individual year. You're still committed to pay a guy a guaranteed $700 million. You'd think you'd throttle back a little bit, but that's not what the Dodgers are doing. And not only that, we've all heard, and we talked about it yesterday, that Ohtani's only going to get $2 million a year for the next 10 years. Tyler Glasnow isn't going to commit that much in salary compared to the bigger name players. A guy like Dylan Cease isn't going to commit that much in or demand that much in salary compared to the other players. So really, they could go out and get, let's say, 4 guys who, by the way, Shohei Ohtani, he pitches, remember, that could be in a rotation either next year or in the next 2 years, and not really pay them that much from an actual bookkeeping standpoint, right? So Yamamoto maybe would be the only one of that group that would warrant a giant salary expenditure in 2024. So I don't think you can look at the behavior here and say, yeah, they're done, because the whole reason that Shohei Ohtani contract is structured the way it is so they could go out and get other pieces. They've already got, by the way, Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts, who are arguably the two best players in the National League, perhaps. Obviously, Acuna, he's pretty good too. But, they've got these two guys, these two cornerstones. They've got a bunch of other guys who are really good around them. You mentioned not that Will Smith. Max
Muncy, who's been extended.
He's pretty good. So here is a team that is very capable of winning the World Series. Go for it. I mean, I know they've got this really good farm system. They've had it for years. They keep backfilling. There's a new guy coming up every 2 weeks, it seems like, that comes up and contributes for them. But listen, you've got all these high-level players that you've brought in from the outside. You've got these guys in the farm system right now that, they've been really good for you, but they can be really good for you in helping you acquire Tyler Glasnow and helping you acquire Dylan Cease. So the Dodgers certainly have the resources, be it in terms of money, which we know they have, and prospect capital, which we know they have, to go out and keep adding. They have shown no indication that they're going to stop. You would think $700 million for Shohei Ohtani, thanks, we're going to go ahead and cancel that meeting with Yamamoto. No, they're having it, and not only that, they've structured the contract in so they can afford that as well. So I don't see them ever being really out on anybody until we start counting actual roster spots that they just do not have available.
A little quick trivia for you. The guy that batted the most behind Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig in the 1927 lineup, do you know?
Who batted fifth for the 27 Yankees?
Who batted behind Ruth and Gehrig?
1927 behind Ruth and Gehrig. Is this somebody I've heard of before?
No. Silent Bob Musil.
Oh.
But Bob Musil had 1,071 RBIs in his career, and he had 103 that 1927 year. One year he had 134. Basically, like, you have
there were ducks
hitting.
on the pond.
Yeah, right. You have the hitting. You have Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani. Max Muncy's going to have some pretty eye-popping numbers just with having those guys in front of him. You're going to need some pitching at some point, and the one thing about Ohtani, he's not going to be pitching this year. And the one thing about Cease is he's pretty affordable when it comes to money. Glasnow is only going to be there for 1 year. If they are trying to make this a true dynasty, Yamamoto can be kind of their ace alongside Shohei Ohtani. They don't actually have to pay Cease that much money. They don't have to pay Glasnow that much money. I think the rich can definitely get richer because the only, the reported package that Ken said was Johnny DeLuca and Ryan Pepiot to the Rays for Manuel Margot and Tyler Glasnow. Obviously, that deal hasn't been made official or hasn't been agreed to, but the Dodgers are pretty. I mean, they got a top 5 farm system. I mean, why not just go completely bare, go completely dry, and for 2024 and 2025, you have Dylan Cease for your 2 World Series runs.
Well, and also you say go completely bare, empty the farm system. You don't have to empty the farm system. You need to get rid of. You could have Glasnow and Cease for 6 guys, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's not even. You're not even doing a thing where you're ripping out your safety net because that organization has been run so well that that safety net exists and it continues to just kind of, replenish everything that's going on at the big league level. When Rick Hahn spent all those years talking about trying to build sustained success, that's how you do it, is by building an organization that keeps producing top-flight prospects. The Dodgers have been doing this for years now, and they have the ability to get rid of some, top guys, absolutely, but that's how you go get top talent. Listen, why were the Arizona Diamondbacks the NL West team that made the World Series last year and not the Los Angeles Dodgers? Because the Los Angeles Dodgers limped into the playoffs with gigantic starting pitching questions. Literally. They threw Lance Lynn in a playoff game, and White Sox fans don't need to be reminded that last year Lance Lynn did not have his best year, and he ended up giving up 40 or 50 home runs by the time it was all told. I think it was 48, I want to say.
44.
44.
No. Yeah, 44.
Well, 44 regular season, or 40 regular season.
44 regular season.
44 regular season, and then he gave up 4 in 1 inning in the playoff game against the D-backs. I mean, the Dodgers were happy to get Lance Lynn, but they were desperate enough that Lance Lynn needed to start for them the remainder of the regular season, needed to start a playoff game for them. Their starting pitching was not in good shape. If they go out and say, all right, in 2024, our top 3 guys that we can throw in a playoff series are going to be Yamamoto, Glasnow, and Cease. And in 2025, it's going to be Yamamoto, Ohtani, and Cease. I mean, you're talking about just a juggernaut that should be expected to win the World Series every year.
The Lance Lynn question now begs, which pitcher allowed the most homers in a season?
Last year or just ever?
Ever.
I looked it up during the year.
Lance Lynn was 44. So like that
in the
was,
regular season. That's the final number,
right.
yeah.
And I think that tied the White Sox record.
Please enlighten us.
Bert Blyleven, 1986, with 50.
That's a lot.
And Jose Lima has the
Lima time.
NL record. Houston with 48 in 2000. And the thing, too, is like Pepiot isn't even on their top 30. So if they do make this deal, I think you brought up DeLuca and how that would be a nice get for the Rays.
I think both guys just because they're major league ready
have graduated.
Yeah, but I believe Pepiot, at least according to some, was a top 100 prospect earlier in 2023. So,
a former third-round pick.
Yeah, I mean that would be a great get for the Rays because that's what the Rays do. The Rays need the control, right? The Rays would love to have Tyler Glasnow. He's a very good pitcher, but they don't need 1 year of Tyler Glasnow, and they're not going to be able to afford more than just 1 year of Tyler Glasnow. So turn it into 5 years of Pepiot, turn it into 6 years of DeLuca. Right. All of a sudden, you're talking about guys that could be contributors for this Rays team for a long time.
And Nando says the Rays are fleecing the Dodgers. The hell is a Manuel Margot? Exactly. I mean, that's kind of what the Rays do. I mean, the Dodgers are very short-sighted, and the Rays are trying to play checkers or play chess and have those 3D moves that they're setting up for 2029. When you're DFAing a first-round prospect, they're ready to scoop them up.
And listen, I think we can learn a lot from what this reported Rays' interest is in what the White Sox might want to get, not just from the Dodgers, but from anybody in a Dylan Cease trade. You know, the White Sox are not in the financial dire straits that the Rays are usually. Perhaps this offseason, maybe that's the case. We don't really know. But look at the moves that the White Sox have made so far. The Eric Fetty move becomes official today, and that's $15 million over the next 2 years. But other than that, Paul DeYoung, $1.7 million, and Max Stassi, the Braves are going to cover almost the entirety of his $7 million contract. I believe it's less. It was reported that it's less than $1 million that the White Sox are on the hook for. Those are really, really low-budget moves, and they could be shrewd, right? They could be exactly what they need, but if that's the way that the White Sox are operating, maybe not entirely this offseason, but want to operate, then maybe they need to look to a team like the Rays and how the Rays do what you just said, set themselves up for years into the future. Maybe when you're looking at the return package of a Dylan Cease trade, it's not necessarily going to be, the blow you out of the water, package that we might have seen in years past with other certain stars, but it might be exactly what the White Sox need. That might be the kind of trade that can set them up for years down the road, as opposed to just give them one solution in one place. It's about getting as many contributors to a major league team as possible.
And then to further discussion, if they do get Yamamoto,
the Dodgers
get Yamamoto. You brought up, what other teams are in Yamamoto. That might be the teams that will be, the people that are most pressing for Cease, especially with Glasnow and Yamamoto off the ledger. Maybe Blake Snell's name finally gets brought up, but those teams that are currently in the mix, as reported by Ken Rosenthal: Yankees, Mets, Giants, and Red Sox. I don't know if any of those teams really jump out as a Dylan Cease fit for me, because the Yankees love spending money. We know they're not afraid of the luxury tax, and they don't really have that rich of a farm system. Same with the Mets.
Well, especially not anymore after the Juan Soto trade.
Right. The Mets are kind of in that same boat. They love to spend money but don't really have the farm system. The Giants haven't really had the opportunity to spend money. Carlos Correa took that away from them. Aaron Judge took that away from them. They still have kind of a
just made the nice contract with Lee from Korea.
Yeah, 113 for 6 years, but I feel like they're looking for something a little bit bigger. And same with the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox have that money, and the Red Sox have been, I think they're the third most team that's spent over the CBT. They're not afraid to spend money. I don't know if any of those teams are really jumping out as a trade partner, I guess.
Well, I think White Sox fans are looking for a match in a very talent-rich farm system. They keep bringing up the Orioles and wanting to pilfer those guys who are rated at the very, very top of baseball in terms of prospects. And maybe that ends up being a match because we know that the Orioles had some interest in the past. But what kind of jumps out to me is that none of those teams that you just read off line up with the list of teams that we heard either before or during the winter meetings, right? Before and during the winter meetings, we heard, yes, the Dodgers, but the Orioles, the Braves, the Reds, way back when we heard the Cardinals, they've probably filled out their rotation at this point. But those are kind of the teams that were being reported as being interested in Dylan Cease, is talking about Dylan Cease. And now you're bringing up this list of other teams, and there's just no overlap with the exception of the LA Dodgers. Maybe that makes things a little bit more difficult, or maybe there's another plane that some of those teams are operating on when talking to the White Sox, or maybe all those teams were interested in Yamamoto, and they haven't even bothered moving on to Dylan Cease in their plans yet. So things can still certainly evolve. I think the thing that jumps out to me is if this Rays-Dodgers trade ends up going down the way that it has been reported, Tyler Glasnow is under control for 1 year. Dylan Cease is under control for 2. So the return should be double, right?
I feel like Fred's reading my mind here, and I do agree with you. I think it should be double. I think, you get one pitcher from the Dodgers. I think there at least should be 2 pitchers coming back for Dylan Cease, or Chris Getz really didn't, I think, do the right job getting a haul. Like, if you're getting a haul for Dylan Cease, you need to be able to double basically the output that Dylan Cease has given you. Hopefully you get 2 starters, and we know how fickle prospects can be. It's not a guarantee that those guys would be major league starters. Hopefully one of them turns into a major league starter.
I'm less talking about doubling the output that Dylan Cease would give you and doubling the output that maybe Ryan Pepiot or whatever, however you pronounce his name, would give you. I think the idea there would be, well, if you're going to give, if the Dodgers are going to give these 2 guys to Tampa Bay for just 1 year of Tyler Glasnow, they should give twice as many guys or twice as much talent in the aggregate to the White Sox in return for 2 years of Cease.
Well, and even with how dominant we know Cease is, how healthy he has been, I think, especially now that apparently baseball has learned about deferred money, should the White Sox be out on Dylan Cease? I still don't think so. Again, I don't understand trading a player of his caliber, but here we are discussing a trade. Fred, though, I think has read my mind. Cubs could use a cost-controlled pitcher. I looked up Jed Hoyer when he started with the Cubs, 2011. So that means Dylan Cease is a Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer draft pick. Obviously, they know the pain of trading him away and Eloy Jimenez away to get Jose Quintana, even though at the time they thought it was a good move. Maybe they want to bring him back. Easy move for Dylan. Just has to go, up I-90, 94. His driver at least has to go up I-90, I-94.
That's a terrible way to get to Wrigley Field. Well, they have to go up Lakeshore Drive. That would be the way to go. You have to go east on 35th all the way to the lake, and then take Lakeshore right up to Addison, or right up to Belmont as the exit. That would be the way to go.
I'm not.
If you're taking the Kennedy to Wrigley Field, you're going about this all wrong.
No, boy. All right. You are a better candidate for being Dylan Cease's driver. I will let him know.
We don't need a repeat of Tukey Toussaint's Uber driver trying to take him from O'Hare to guaranteed rate on the Kennedy at rush hour. We do not need a repeat of that.
Is that not a good idea? But Dylan, I mean, it doesn't seem like the Cubs are being very aggressive with their money. Obviously, they were aggressive in getting Craig Counsell, but we haven't seen them make that big splash, to Cody's dismay, on the CHGO Cubs podcast. They are a team, though, that is very prospect heavy. So I wouldn't be surprised if, the Cubs name gets started maybe leaking out. Maybe at least they are a team that could show some interest because Yamamoto's off the board. They need pitching, and they really haven't secured that yet. So, I would say Orioles, Reds, Cubs. Why not throw the Red Sox in there?
Sure, I mean, listen,
the Red Sox in there because I think maybe.
Listen, you're talking about who you would look at, kind of thing. I think there's going to be more, and I think that you've got whole lists of teams, 5-6 teams going after each big name pitcher, right? Only one of those teams gets every one of those pitchers, so there's going to be a list of runners up to a Glasnow trade. There's going to be a list of runners up to sign Yamamoto, and there are still pitchers out there, but every time one signs, there's going to be three more teams that didn't get that guy. And so it might be winnowing the pool down a little bit, so who Chris Getz can trade with. But remember, the White Sox don't feel any urgency to trade Dylan Cease. They don't feel like they even need to trade Dylan Cease. If that makes one team desperate enough to meet the asking price, then it was all worth the wait.
Well, and I think, too, it goes back to our discussion yesterday of why not wait until the trade deadline, because that desperation is just going to be kicked up in a fever at that point, and maybe the Dodgers, maybe some of their guys have had great seasons, and they're even more attractive trade pieces after they get, more time under their belt in the minor leagues. So, the Dodgers could just come back into this competition if a team doesn't really put them out of it now after they get Glasnow and Yamamoto, or if that's even the case of them getting them.
And hey, don't count out those Braves, because obviously Chris Getz has the phone number on speed dial. He's already made 2 trades with the Braves this offseason. Maybe there's a third in the wings. We'll see.
Did you see what they did to David Fletcher?
Well, so they outrighted him.
Yeah. Even though they have 5 40-man roster spots available.
But again, it just creates more flexibility. Like I think the idea, I was just reading about this. That's why I'm responding with such confidence. It allows them flexibility. They knew he was going to make it through waivers because he makes $14 million or something like that. So they're like, we're going to pay him. We expect him to play on the major league roster, but why not just free up another 40-man space while we can, and we can keep doing moves this whole offseason.
Well, and he's like 4 service days away from being able to reject an outright assignment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, they're just absolutely just being like, we know we can abuse this, and we are going to make your life hell. But, yeah. Let's take a break. We'll talk about Empire and ComEd, and then we'll jump into the Seth Lugo signing by the Kansas City Royals. But you all know the phone number, 588-2300 Empire today. I feel like we got to get a lead in, like a 1, 2, 3.
So we're right on the right beat?
Yeah.
I think we did a pretty good job.
I felt a little off.
Wow.
It's okay. With Empire today, you'll get shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire today is the best place to get new flooring. So, of course, they have copycats, but Empire can't be beaten on quality, service, speed. So competitors, I was going to say, I don't need to say that. Just say the words. Competitors advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who does is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. Empire keeps shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection. They don't want to overwhelm you with all of the options that you could put in your house. Why not give you the option that you should put in your house? Empire is the expert in the Chicagoland area in flooring. They work every single day with the people that are putting floors in, that are working on homes, so they know that they can get you the best again, service, quality, and speed for putting those floors into your home, from picking out those floors to the actual installation. And their virtual floor designer is a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. So go to empiretoday.com/CHGO to schedule a free home in estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Again, see empiretoday.com/CHGO for details and to schedule a free in-home estimate today. Let's also let people know about ComEd, and I like this because it is CHGO Theater. Are you good with, do you do voices?
I don't have one prepared, if that's what you're asking for.
All right. Yeah. You don't have any impersonations. You do pretty well.
Well,
I do a pretty good Flava Flav.
I don't know if the ComEd folks signed up for that.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll just read then. It's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. That's something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it.
Sean, you're right. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as well, or as we all move with confidence toward an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
So what should business owners do, Vin?
I'm glad you asked, Sean, because I have the answer. They should go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. They're good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
I recently went to the, not the optometrist. You know what the ear doctor's called?
Ooh, the ear doctor.
Anyone know what an ear doctor's called?
Is that an ophthalmologist, maybe?
Ooh.
Or there's ENT doctor.
ENT. I recently went to the...
Ooh. Yeah.
What is
ENT. Usually people just say ENT.
Oh, okay. Anyways, I went to my local ENT, got my ears cleaned out. Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
Well, that was money well spent, Sean, because yes, that's exactly what I said. Amazing. Go now and see how electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
That's perfect. All right, let's jump into Seth Lugo. Hey, isn't that fun?
Where's the little noisemaker?
Do you have a little
happy birthday?
Do you have a sound effect to celebrate Seth Lugo signing with the Royals? Yeah,
there it is.
There you go.
Sorry, I was looking at the otolaryngologist word, so I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to figure out how to pronounce this.
Yeah, that's going to take some time.
Yeah, let us know when you figure it out. Mark Feinstein of MLB reported that San Diego actually offered a fourth year to Lugo, but for a lower guarantee than he received from Kansas City. So Seth Lugo is now a Royal for 3 years, $45 million. A former reliever turned starter who did pretty well in his first year in San Diego in that position. My question to you, though, I'm not really trying to make a case for the White Sox, as I kind of was yesterday, to win the AL Central. It's just that I feel like I can make a case for anyone. And the Royals going out and getting a competent starter, especially to go with Cole Ragans, I mean, they got 2 starters right now, and that's more than they had yesterday.
It's true. It's true. Listen, I mean, good for the Royals, right? I mean, we just talked about a Rays team that has to do business in a certain fashion and does it very, very well, right? A team that is financially, compared to other teams, hamstrung, a team that has to do things in a specific way. The Royals are a small market team. And so when they go out and they get Seth Lugo, when they go out and they make an addition to the bullpen, like not that Will Smith, that's the way that the Royals operate, and these might not be the splashiest moves in the world, but they get moves that make their team better. Their team is, like you just said, better today than it was yesterday. They're reportedly eyeing Marcus Stroman. Maybe they are better, much better, a week, 2 weeks, 2 months from now than they were today as well. I think like you were talking about, hey, there's this opening, there's this opportunity to compete for a division title that a team like the Royals with a roster like the Royals have might not usually have. But because everybody else is kind of sitting around waiting for everybody else to do something, why not jump on the opportunity? Why not make yourself a little bit better? Why not make yourself, more able to go up against the Twins, to go up against the Guardians? The Royals are doing that. Listen, remember, the Royals lost more games than the White Sox did last year. They are not, on the cusp by any stretch of the imagination. They, like the White Sox, have a fantastic player whose name ends in Junior. So adding Seth Lugo, adding Will Smith is not going to push them over the edge into AL Central favorite territory.
They got Chris Stratton, too.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that would have changed your mind.
You think that would have scrapped my whole argument.
Yeah.
But they're doing something to make themselves better. The White Sox are doing something to make themselves better. They go get Eric Fetty. They get some defensive upgrades. But I look around at every single one of these teams. That includes the Tigers, who have made a couple moves. It includes the Royals and the White Sox. It includes the Twins, who are the presumptive favorite in the division. You're still not doing anything really that makes you able to compete for anything more. These are teams that are better, sure, but better relative to themselves. And that was a very low bar to begin with. I don't see any one of these 5 teams standing any sort of chance in a series with the Orioles, in a series with the Rays, in a series with the Rangers or the Astros. If it's about winning the division, yeah, the Royals' chances are maybe slightly better than they were yesterday, but they're not that much. They're not that much better, and then at the end of that, what happens?
You could put it very simple. The only team that I wouldn't favor all of the AL Central over in a playoff series is the Oakland A's.
The only team? Yeah, you might be right. I mean, the Twins are fine. The Twins are not bad.
The Twins could beat the Mariners?
Yeah, the Twins could beat the Mariners. You don't think so?
That's like the Rangers, Astros, the Angels.
Yeah, they're not very.
I feel like the Twins could beat the Angels.
I think pretty easily.
But like outside of that, I don't know. I mean, they're just so bad. I mean, if you power ranked all the AL teams, it is very clear that there's just the AL Central is just at the bottom half, and it's very clear. Yeah. The one thing too, I mean, Rick Hahn always said, off-season acquisition, trade deadline acquisition, someone getting healthier. The pass squatch will be back. He left in June, so he should be fully healthy and ready to go.
And the guy in the suit, too.
And the guy in the suit.
Yeah.
But their rotation looking like Cole Ragans, who was insane when they acquired him from Texas.
He was phenomenal, yeah.
Seth Lugo, Jordan Lyles, Brady Singer, Daniel Lynch, and if they do add Stroman, I mean, it really pushes out either Singer or Lynch, and those guys are former first-round picks for them. So I mean, like it's
that haven't worked out.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a Brady Singer truther. Daniel Lynch has been all right too. Like I mean, there's moments where that changeup works good. I mean, he's like kind of like Jared Schuster, but a little less lanky.
And
Jared Schuster's less lanky.
And Jordan Lyles was like the worst pitcher in baseball
horrible.
last year. Yeah.
They paid him. So
worst
I don't really
pitcher in baseball.
He can throw, and we know he's a given that he'll throw his arm out. But yeah, that's it on the Royals. I mean, I guess I can add this in. Looking at the live odds for the AL Central Division winner for the futures market, the team that is the favorite, Minnesota Twins, minus 125. So as I always try to say on those CIRCA reads, you always want to be betting something minus 110, right? So it's saying that the Twins are a little bit heavier favorites than normal to win the AL Central. Guardians are in second at plus 3-1. Tigers at plus 325, so 3.25 to 1. The Royals are in fourth at 20-1, so big jump there. The White Sox are in last at 40-1.
I mean, let's put it this way: I don't disagree with that today. I might come opening day. I'd probably drill down on it more. But if you told me right now that the White Sox were going to finish last in the AL Central next year, would you be surprised?
No, but I guess I'm surprised that there's a 20-1 difference between the Royals and White Sox because I think their chances to win the AL Central are about the same. And their chances to finish at the bottom of the AL Central are about the same.
Yes, I would agree. I will say this, though, to the point I was making earlier about what these teams are doing this offseason. What are the top three moves in the AL Central this offseason? Top three additions.
Oh, God.
It's probably Seth Lugo to the Royals, Eric Fetty to the White Sox, or you can put those in whatever order you want, and Kenta Maeda going to the Tigers. Will Smith going into the Royals bullpen.
What a sad division.
I'm just saying, like,
no, I know.
It's not
horrible.
It's not that you're waiting. It's not like you're waiting on one or two teams to do something. All five need to do more.
Anything.
Yeah.
You just poke it with a stick. I actually heard a mystery team is in on Yamamoto. I heard the Guardians are trying to defer money for at least the next 300 years to get Yamamoto on their team.
He makes them just $1 million every year for the next 300 years.
Yes. He also becomes a 49% owner of the Cleveland Guardians if he signs that deal. Want to let you know, I mentioned them earlier, CIRCA Sportsbook. Our friends over at CIRCA Sportsbook, again, are always trying to give you the best lines possible as a sports bettor. They have tight money line splits and a low hold model where games will strive to be a minus 110 split on the CIRCA Sports menu, unlike other sportsbooks, which may use a minus 115 or minus 120 split. CIRCA keeps a little money as possible on large market bets like futures, like those AL Central futures or golf tournaments, especially compared to other books. So it, again, allows them to offer you the best line possible because they're the world's largest sports book. They're always trying to listen to bettors, see what the smart bettors are doing and adjust the lines accordingly and make sure that they have the right lean on the game. And also, CIRCA Sportsbook, being the world's largest sportsbook, allows them to have great customer service. There are real people behind the CIRCA Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books who use chatbots. All aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the main CIRCA Sportsbook at CIRCA Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So download the CIRCA Sport Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app. That's circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today and also be on the lookout for CIRCA events, watch parties, and tailgates. If you or someone you know might have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. Text GMB 833-234. Visit areyourreallywinning.com. We had the bet show earlier. If you are looking for a bet tonight, I like some college basketball. We're going to take Florida International to cover 23.5.
All right.
You want to let people know about Goose? My favorite thing is betting. Your favorite thing is?
Geese. Everyone knows my favorite thing is geese. No, my favorite thing is beer, and especially Goose Island beer. You got to have a honkingly good time whenever you crack open a beer, and certainly I do because I'm always drinking that 312. But CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company, which has been Chicago's beer since 1988. You run down to the Jewels, and you can find any number of wonderful varieties of Goose Island beer. I mentioned the 312, which I like. Herb's always drinking those beer hugs that he likes so much. The non-Milwaukee brewers are always drinking that full pocket pills over at the brewery. And it's Christmas time. They got the Christmas IPA out there somewhere for you to just throw down the old gullet. But, you know, when we have events, Goose is usually out there with us. You gotta pay attention to those. And really what you need to do, though, is go down and grab an Ultra Fresh Brewery exclusive beer at any number of their locations, which, of course, at the moment is only one, and that is the tap room over on Fulton Street in Westtown, because the original brew house on Clyburn Avenue in Lincoln Park just poured its last beer, I believe, over the weekend. But according to the article I was reading the other day, you'll soon be able to go on over to the Salt Shed. And have some Goose Island beer over there. So look out for that. I have no idea when that's going to be open, but right now you go to Westtown, Fulton Street. They've got the tap room over there. So what are you doing? Get out of your chair. Get out of your seat. Get up off your behind and go get yourself some Goose Island beer so you can have a honkingly good time.
A fantastic beer company, and of course your favorite thing would be geese. Who doesn't love a good geese? You did bring up Eric Fetty being official, Johan Ramirez being DFA'd.
For all the 40-man fans out there, and I know there are many, you can now scratch Johan Ramirez off the list if you, of course, remember that Johan Ramirez was on the 40-man to begin with. But I made quite the faux pas over the weekend when they removed Edgar Navarro from the 40-man roster, and I said, wow, gee, I wonder what's going to happen with this open spot. Of course, the Eric Fetty signing will become official, and he will take that spot. No, they traded for Max Stassi, so they had to clear another spot today. Johan Ramirez was DFA'd, so the 40-man at 40.
Yes, at 40, and if they do look to add anyone else, there is Alex Spees, who was picked up, was the first pitching pickup.
Waiver claim during the playoffs.
Yes, by Brian Bannister. So I don't know if that's a guy that he really, truly loves. So maybe he's not going to be DFA'd. Sammy Peralta is not projected to make the depth chart, but he is currently on the 40-man roster. Jimmy Lambert's out of options. Davey Garcia's out of options. And Luis Patino are out of options. So those are the guys that are probably the most likely candidates that if they were to add anyone else to be cut off the 40-man roster, it'd be surprising to see Lambo get cut.
Yeah, he's had some major league success, and I think that's why you probably would expect to see him around. Sammy Peralta, I think probably you wouldn't have a lot of problems keeping him, even if you did remove him from the 40-man. The other two guys were both, if memory serves, acquired in trade deadline trades. They just traded cash to get Luis Patino, correct, to the Rays, and then Davey Garcia was the player to be named later in the Keenan Middleton deal, if memory serves. Man, if I nailed that, that would be impressive. No,
claimed off waivers.
Waiver claim. All right, well. Yeah, they got some real young guy. They got like an A-ball pitcher for Middleton, I think. Rats. Almost had it.
Do you want me to look up the Keenan Middleton trick? Okay.
Canelo, something like that, maybe.
God, now you're bringing up the name.
Now I have.
Juan Carrera.
Carrella, there you go. But yeah, so I would say that the most likely to be removed player of the four that you just listed there would be Peralta, but of course Chris Getz was not the general manager when any of those guys were picked up. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what the ties are to them. Obviously, top prospect is a nice thing to be, former top prospect, but again, it is former. So even though Patino and David Garcia were thought of when they were coming up, they also were let go by their original organization a couple times. So I don't know if they're the cream of the crop still. All right, I got a new game. I had a thought yesterday, heard a certain saying, and I was like, I wonder. So we're going to play the game, and Sarah's going to join in. So it's going to be Vinny versus Sarah.
Hi.
I'll be your host. We're going to be playing How Old Is He?
Oh, my goodness. We have to guess the ages of players?
Nope. So, Sarah, why don't you show example number 1, the verses. So how old is he? Jerry Reinsdorf versus Virginia McCaskey. So who is older? This is basically who's older. And obviously this is going to be all for people. I mainly thought of inventions, right? Jerry Reinsdorf. What has he seen, right? What was before Jerry Reinsdorf? What was after Jerry Reinsdorf? This is more of an example. Virginia McCaskey, Jerry Reinsdorf. Which of these two people are older?
Virginia McCaskey.
Okay, Sarah.
I was going to say the same thing.
Okay,
yeah.
well, you could feel free to reveal. It's a very easy one. Virginia McCaskey's 100 years old, and Jerry Reinsdorf 87. He was born in 1936. So just an example. You each get a point. Nice pat on the back there. Let's go to game number 2, though. I looked up a timeline of inventions, right? When were things invented? So Jerry Reinsdorf.
Is this just going to be mean to Jerry Reinsdorf, showing how old
that
he's
though?
Just making fun of him for being old?
It's just a fact. I don't know if it's
just
mean.
A number.
It's more just to teach people about
history.
Yeah, when things were invented. It's kind of just, I find it more, if it is mean-spirited, I'm sorry. If it is ageist, it's not my intention. It's just more of, I kind of learned some things. Okay. I don't know if you guys will take anything away. So the traffic signal or Jerry Reinsdorf, who is older?
My guess would be the traffic signal.
I was going to say the same thing.
Because that could apply to a horse and buggy, perhaps.
Oh, yes. All right. So the traffic signal is the guess, and the traffic signal is the correct answer.
The same age as Virginia McCaskey.
It is. Happy 100th birthday to the traffic signal. The traffic signal is older. So 2 points for you guys. Sarah and Vinny both have a point. So let's go to game 3 here. A little bit of a theme. The yield sign. Jerry Reinsdorf versus the yield sign. Which one is older?
I will say that the yield sign is more modern than the 30s. I will go with Jerry Reinsdorf.
Same.
Jerry Reinsdorf older than the yield sign.
Same. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're gonna have a
yield
lot
sign is they only started doing that how long ago?
I don't know. Cars were invented in 1914.
Right.
So
maybe cars are older than Jerry Reinsdorf.
1918.
Yeah.
The yield sign is more modern. 1939 versus 1936 for Jerry Reinsdorf. Yes, you guys are
3 for 3.
3 for 3.
Yeah.
Let's go to game number 4. This is the final car-themed one. So my bad.
So is Jerry on every one of these?
Yeah, well, that's the game. How old is he?
It's not like you're going to show
Jerry Reinsdorf.
It's not like you're going to show who's a young guy. Like you're not going to show Luis Robert Jr. No, and then something that was invented in the late 90s.
I feel like that's too easy of a game because you were around then.
Sure.
So that's kind of the thought too. Is you guys. I don't think you guys remember the invention of the stop sign.
But I'm also my thought process with this one is if a yield sign was with 1939 or something, then a stop sign I feel like obviously came before the yield.
Did it?
So for this one, I'm going to say a stop sign is older.
I would tend to think that most rules of the road came long after the invention of the car. I should have remembered back to the yield sign. The yield sign was 1939.
Yeah.
So there's about a 3-year, and also there's no push on this. So if something was invented in 1936, that is older than Jerry Reinsdorf because Jerry was just a baby.
The stop sign. I'll say the stop sign is older.
Okay.
Sarah, you agree?
Yes.
Stop sign 1914. That was invented with the car. Also, if you don't know what that is on the right side, the stop sign, you see the stop sign of the 3-way, and then under there's a smaller one saying, whoa, wait a minute. That was an Oak Lawn. Our mayor put those up around stop signs all around the town to get people to stop. Yeah, and he got, I think, sued by the U.S. government. Because
just confusion.
Yeah, confusion. Yeah. But it was stop and smell the roses. It was pretty.
They were all different.
Yeah, they're all different.
This is a fun story. I like this one.
All right. See, I'm not trying to be rude. This isn't mean-spirited. We got a lot of time to fill in the off season. All right, let's go to the next one. So, Spiral Notebook or Jerry Reinsdorf? Which one's older?
Spiral Notebook.
I think it's got to be the Spiral Notebook.
Yeah.
You guys are saying Spiral Notebook.
Yes.
You guys have been very good at this game. 1924 was the invention of the Spiral Notebook.
Go.
We've yet to
Jerry
miss.
Reinsdorf was 1936. Wow. You have yet to miss.
Well,
you guys are 4 for 4.
Think about notebooks, that's just paper and that had
wire.
to be around. Yeah, it had to be around forever.
You'd think, hey, I'm not going to try to give away more, but the Slinky is younger than Jerry Reinsdorf.
As a toy. Right, yeah.
But, like, I mean, that's the same thing.
These are,
as
like,
a spiral
fundamental,
notebook.
like, things that society needed back in the day, like a notebook.
You're talking about necessities, which is the mother of invention.
That's like a toy.
A slinky, not a necessity.
Well, I guess. All right. How old is he?
How many of these are there? 8? And we're what?
4 for 4?
5 for 5.
5 for 5.
Yeah, we're
five
on
for
number
5.
6.
All right.
Okay.
So 3 more.
I gave you a real easy one with Jerry
Hero
Reinsdorf.
bread.
Yeah, Reinsdorf, and not Hero Bread, but they had a nice picture of sliced bread. So a shout out to our friends over at Hero Bread. But sliced bread or Jerry Reinsdorf, which one's older? This actually was what caused me to think. So it was like, oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I was like, is Jerry Reinsdorf older than sliced bread?
Well,
or if he's not, then he at one point was the greatest thing.
Like you're talking about like packages of bread that are already sliced. Like when was that invented in like grocery stores and stuff?
A slice, the ability to slice bread.
I will say
pre-sliced bread.
I will say sliced bread came around after Jerry Reinsdorf was born.
So Jerry Reinsdorf is older than sliced bread.
I'll be
as we know it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be different and I'll say, well, you said older.
No, sliced bread is younger. That's what I say.
I'll say older.
Sarah is correct. Sarah is still perfect on this.
Let's go.
Sliced bread is older than Jerry Reinsdorf.
See,
1927.
I was gonna say, people have been eating
I
bread.
can't imagine people are slicing bread during the Depression.
Well,
that's just my thought.
Well, isn't this pre-Depression? Wasn't
Yes.
1929? Yeah. So this was. I mean, they were slicing bread in Jubilee. I mean, man.
During the Roaring 20s.
Oh, man, that bread was flying around. I mean, the bread, you couldn't keep bread on the shelf back in those days. Once they sliced that bread, it sold like hotcakes.
So it's 6 to 7.
6 to 5.
Or
6 to 5. Yeah, 6 to 5. All right, so the next one up.
Right.
How old is he? Jerry Reinsdorf versus deodorant.
Deodorant is older.
Deodorant's older.
That's what I will
I'm going to say
yes.
that too.
And Sarah's agreeing on
People have
deodorant
been using
being older.
deodorant forever.
You guys are wrong.
Really?
Yes, Jerry Reinsdorf is older
Just
than
straight
deodorant.
Straight up deodorant.
Wow.
Deodorant. Really?
What did people use before this then?
Nothing. They stunk.
Oh my God, that's gross.
You ever heard about the Chicago River? They reversed all of our sewage to go down the other way, and that's why our city's so nice.
No.
got rid of all the
I
sewage.
didn't even think. I feel like I didn't think too. I should have thought more about.
I mean, that
this
doesn't
one.
have anything to do with whether or not you wear deodorant.
Well, I'm thinking of, like,
You're going to be
timeline.
producing sewage whether you wear deodorant or not.
It was less about, it was more about
like
surviving
sanitation.
and smelling
Yeah,
good.
like the timeline of sanitation for society or something.
Yeah, I guess modern commercial deodorant, I guess, was apparently 1988.
Like Old Spice.
But yeah, the underarm applicator is the 40s.
Okay.
So yeah, the modern deodorant, stick of deodorant is younger than Jerry Reinsdorf.
So that was number 7.
Yes.
So there's one left.
So we have one left.
And
is it tied?
I have to get it, and you have to get it wrong in order for us to tie.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so it's
so if we have the same answer, it's over.
All right.
Okay.
Final one. How old is he? Jerry Reinsdorf
Wiffle ball.
or wiffle ball? How old is he? Which one's younger?
My guess is that wiffle ball came after 1936.
Okay. Sarah?
I mean, I agree with that too.
Well, then you go.
Yeah.
Just agree and you win.
Okay, yeah. Like I think obviously it came afterwards.
Why are you
so
helping her with
he's-
strategy?
yeah. Well,
She agreed. I didn't want her to go against her
Yeah.
beliefs.
I mean that's
All right, let's see.
Yeah, stickball was invented before, but wiffle ball invented in Fairfield, Connecticut in 1953.
There you go.
Let's say wiffle ball. I was like, yeah, that's not that old.
I mean, I don't even think Jerry Reinsdorf was young enough to enjoy wiffle ball. I mean, he would have.
I played wiffle ball well after I was 17.
Yeah, but I mean, Jerry Reinsdorf's a billionaire, so I mean, he probably was hard at work. He didn't have the same upbringing as us.
I see.
I
had
mean,
more leisure time, is what you're saying?
Jerry
Okay.
Reinsdorf worked 24/7, and that's why he's the owner of the Chicago White Sox.
Well, I'll tell you this. I sure hope I live to an age where people will do this game for me.
No, honestly.
It's an achievement. I mean, he's lived longer than the average, lifespan. So I mean, that's a congrats to Jerry Reinsdorf. I didn't mean this in a negative way, a mean-spirited way. I was just more curious. Is Jerry Reinsdorf older than sliced bread? He's not. Anyways, that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. That is Vinnie Duber. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. Sarah is our winner of our first edition of How Old Is He?
Thank you.
Congratulations. And I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. We will talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.